Right now at 6 o'clock, help is on the way after Helen for Virginia and other states, including the Deep South. Fox 61 was there live as Eversource crews rolled out.
And get ready for new laws in Connecticut. We'll preview the changes taking effect this week, as well as a major change that is still a few months away.
Schools across Connecticut are dealing with a rise in threats. In some cases, teenagers are being arrested. I'm Angelo Bavar with a closer look at the legal consequences those young kids could be facing.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good morning and happy Monday, everybody. I'm Tim Lammers.
And I'm Rachel Biscatelli in for Erica Arias this morning on this Monday here on the Fox 61 Morning News starting at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, glad you're with us here. Of course, we hope you had a great weekend. Weather-wise, I'm going to do some rain, but it was plain alike.
So weekend.
Yeah, it was okay at the Durham Fair Saturday.
Didn't stop. I was there Friday. I mean, yeah, it was dry mostly. It was, it was less than perfect, but didn't stop us from taking 48 hours off and enjoying and recharging the batteries. Good morning to you. Foggy start to your Monday forecast. We're, in a way, forecast has been just kind of stuck. A lot of clouds, limited sunshine. We're going to see more of that over the course of the next few days. We do have a brighter, warmer forecast in there over the next couple of days. We'll talk about that coming up. Satellite radar picture has some decent clouds in there. In terms of anything major, nothing. Unless you're talking, without talking about the fog that's on the ground right now, the visibility. Not great in some parts. We're at 1.25 miles in Chester, 4 miles over there in New Haven, another 1.25 miles in Grand. So things aren't ideal out there for the low clouds. Higher up, it's not too bad. Temperatures, I jumped the gun. I'm all over the place this Monday morning. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s generally, although Willimantic, Torrington a little far behind in the upper 40s. Here's your school bus forecast. It's definitely hoodie weather this morning. Temperatures later on into the lower 70s. Lots of clouds still dominating the scene out there. Talk about how long that's going to last, if any of them are bringing any more rain. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. Rachel doing double, triple, quadruple duty? You're just doing it all.
I'm just doing it, right?
Take it
all
away.
right, good morning. We are following some road work clearing up this morning over in Windsor and East Windsor. So out by, 91 southbound exits 44 through 42. We also have some road work 91 north, 42 through 44. Also a live look outside over on 91 this morning as you're traveling into downtown. That looks okay, volume light. So Windsor to the 84 interchange is 3 minutes. New Britain Ave to the Hartford Tunnel, a 5-minute drive. Well, a new week has school districts across the state bracing for more social media threats. It's been a widespread issue since school started, and police departments are working hard to catch those responsible.
And in some cases, it's teenagers whom they're arresting. So the question at that point becomes, how exactly do you deal with these young people? What is the best course of action? Fox 61's Angelo Bavaro joins us live outside Pulaski Middle School in New Britain with more.
Tim, Rachel, good morning. And under state law, those people found responsible for these threats could be facing thousands of dollars in fines, even jail time. But the reality is not so simple. Here in New Britain, just a few days ago, a 13-year-old boy was arrested after police say he made threats against the middle school. In these types of cases, state leaders say you have to balance making sure that these young kids know the consequences of their actions, but also the consequences of putting these young kids through the juvenile justice system.
Oh my God, I hope these kids is all right.
Families are facing a new reality of fear as more schools turn into police scenes.
Never imagined this would be a reality for my first grader.
I really do believe the rash of young people making these kind of threats has been an emotional effect of what's happening in our society. The dehumanization in some ways of spreading misinformation, the isolation post-COVID, the challenges of learning loss. Children are looking for outlets.
State Senator Tony Huang led the passage of increased consequences for school threats in 2016.
It has now been moved from a Class A misdemeanor, which is a slap on the wrist, to now a Class D felony.
What's not as clear is how to deal with people under 18 who are found responsible for threats that are almost always fake.
If the crime merits that we charge these young people, with a felony because the intent was so significant. We created a backdrop that said if these young people have learned a valuable lesson and that they had a 5-year or a period of time in which they have learned the valuable lesson, we are reconsidering to remove that from their records.
Huang says communicating consequence is key.
You will be assessed and tried under the law.
And so is addressing the underlying issues.
Another critical factor of that bill was we made a commitment and a financial as well as a institutional and cultural commitment to addressing mental health. You don't hear a lot about that from a part of the bill because we've let it wane. And now I think more than ever, we need to take a look at mental health, social media.
And state leaders say families also have to play a role in addressing this issue as well. Huang says that parents, guardians should be speaking with their kids about social media and the consequences of their actions. Reporting live in New Britain this morning, I'm Angelo Bavaro, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Angelo, thanks for that report. It is 6:06 on this Monday morning. Several new laws are set to take effect here in Connecticut tomorrow. One of the biggest involves kids' data online. Starting tomorrow, there will be set requirements for how websites can manage, process, and obtain the consent of obtain consent to use the personal information of people under the age of 18. Social media platforms will also be required to unpublish a minor's social media account within 15 business days if they get a request to do so, and they'll have 45 business days to delete an account after getting a request. As of this morning, still more than 2 million people are without power from Florida to Tennessee. President Biden has issued disaster declarations for Florida and the Carolinas and declared an emergency in Virginia in the aftermath of Helene. It was late Thursday night that Hurricane Helene made landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida as a Category 4 hurricane. Excuse me. And now here we are more than 3 days later. The U.S. is still trying to get a handle on how bad the damage is in so many different states. The Federal Emergency Management Agency said it's focused on getting the impacted communities stabilized right now. They're not even at the point yet where they can begin fully assessing the damage and starting to help with the rebuild. Now, that right there was video out of Florida where the waters have receded. Not the case in North Carolina. You're looking at Mountain Island, just north of Charlotte. This is normally on the shores of a lake. It now is a lake.
I've been here for 22 years. I've been boating on this lake for 3 years, and I've never seen the water this high. I mean, I've seen it up a little bit, and I've seen trees floating in the water, but I would imagine in the next couple of days there's going to be a ton of trees, a ton of debris, and I've just never seen the water that high.
Not even close. I mean, dozens of homes are submerged in water. More than a dozen people just there had to be rescued. And it is like this exact scene in so many inland counties in that part of the country, where in some small communities and downtowns, literally everything is or was underwater.
Hard to see. Some parts of Florida have attempted to get back to some type of normalcy this morning. Clearwater city leaders announced that residents and business owners can return to Clearwater Beach. You can see that any home or business at ground level took on water, some places unrecognizable from all the damage and sand left behind from the storm surge. In neighborhoods that don't usually flood, homes had several feet of water inside. Samuel Hutkin is the president of the Clearwater Beach Association and was walking around last night doing what he could to help neighbors.
I have a contractor here. We're trying to figure out how we can remediate some things, get volunteers here to pull all this out. It's just exhausting work. I mean, I've been up for 3.5 days, cuts on my feet, just trying to figure out how to move all this sand out and then restart.
Hutkin says he only had a few inches of water in his home, so he almost feels guilty because so many others in his neighborhood had it so much worse.
Dozens of Eversource crews are on the road to help with power restoration. Trucks left yesterday morning from Eversource headquarters in Berlin. About 40 line crews from Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire are in Virginia, along with 20 support personnel, as Helene has still left millions in the dark.
We're actually real excited to go down, pick up the outages, because as I said before in another interview, it's a good feeling to get the customers picked up, and when their power does come back on, it's just a really warm, welcoming experience.
Well, that is good to hear, you can imagine. Eversource said it is keeping an appropriate number of crews here at home, though, to address any local issues should they pop up.